What's up, guys? DwK videos. It's time to go plus ultra in World War. Anyway, if you guys have been under a rock on Facebook, literally everyone's freaking out underneath the sun, and my YouTube has recently been hit up with tons of comments saying like, am I gonna get drafted? How do we know if I'm gonna get drafted? And nothing's even happened yet for you to get drafted. So many people are so worried for nothing. If you guys don't know what a draft is and you're new, basically a draft has happened like 5 times in the United States during old wars. So like the Civil War, World War I, World War II, Korean, Cold War technically, even though, I mean, you know, whatever. Vietnam. Drafts are where they take able-bodied young men and you basically get selected to go serve your country in times of need. Right now, the US military is 100% voluntary. There's not a single person who is drafted in the US military. A couple years ago, there's this like army guy who was really high up in ranks, who was like super old, and he was a draftee way back in the day, but technically he retired. He was like in the reserves or whatever. But yeah, we're 100% voluntary. If countries come down to this, and it's not common in other countries, if they need active bodies to be the fighting force for their country as a last result, they do enact a draft. If you're a male and you're over the age of 18, you probably already signed into this selection process thing. Basically, it's a legal binding document. Once you turn 18, you have to register for the draft in a hypothetical scenario. The selective service system is still in place as a contingency plan. Basically, if you're from like 18 to 24 or 25, you are enrolled in this like bank of people. And then like another reserve bank is dudes up to age 45 and some females. There's been huge like political debates all over the news whether or not females should be required to register for the draft as males due to like equal opportunity rights and so on. But we're not here to talk about politics. Even though this sounds like politicky type things, I'm just telling you guys how the draft works in a hypothetical scenario because I don't care about politics. There's a question or brought up about what about people who are here illegally? People who are undocumented and the US is made aware of can actually still be drafted. I don't know how they're gonna like force them to, but yeah, you can still be drafted. The way it more likely makes sense is dudes who are here on a green card waiting to get citizenship, they can still be drafted. I feel like the first point was way too confusing. It's most likely referring to people who are trying to gain citizenship and are here on a green card temporarily. Immigrants who try to nationalize, they actually have to say an oath that goes like this: that I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by law, that I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by law, that I will perform work of a national importance under civilian direction when required by law. If you already enlisted into the United States military straight out of high school, you actually didn't have to sign this thing when you turned 18 because you were already in the military. When in the military, even though you sign like a 4-year contract, you're actually obligated to the US military for 8 years. A lot of people don't know this, but every single branch you have a minimum of 8 years of service. So whether that's 3, 4, 5, or 6 years active, there's this thing called the IRR, inactive reserve, where they can actually pull you back up to 8 years because again, you're in that little drafty scenario, except you're more accessible than just random civilians because you've already been through boot camp training, you're still technically on contract. So if something did go crazy where we needed to touch into like the populace of people, they're actually gonna hit up reservists first, then the IRR, inactive ready reserve, which are people who got out, but they're still within that 8-year time frame, they can recall them, and then do a general draft. Let me rain on your guys' parade a little bit, and a lot of people are super paranoid or scared, or you know, they don't think they have what it takes to go into combat, and a lot of times you probably don't, and you don't have to worry about being drafted. Tons of you guys actually don't meet the requirement to join the military. Everyone thinks they have what it takes to join the military, but actually, majority of the US populace does not meet the minimum requirements to even get into boot camp. Tons of Americans are overweight, have mental and or physical problems with their body, can't pass the required aptitude test to get into the military because you basically need a proficiency in a certain educational mark that's graded on a standard called the ASVAB, and a lot of like the general public wouldn't pass that in a requiring score to get in. And yeah, I think the general population is worrying about nothing. Nothing actually happened yet, and I feel like it's just a bunch of Facebook memes at this point. However, we'll keep you updated on this channel. If you guys want to leave a like, subscribe, I'll see you guys in the next one.